Councillors, ladies and gentlemen, please be standing for the West on there, Carol Thompson, accompanied by the Managing Director, Denise McGowan.
Seated. Welcome everyone. Do we have apologies, please?
We have a number of apologies from Councillor Bailey-Fleet, Councillor Buchan, Councillor Feeney, Councillor Needham, Councillor Martin Wells, Councillor Roy, Councillor Smith, Councillor Clayton and Councillor May.
Thank you. Any declarations of interest from members? Councillor Brady?
Sorry, I've just had a text from Councillor Georgeson as well.
No declarations of interest?
No interest.
To do with any business required by statute, we don't have any, do we? No. To approve the minutes of the last meeting the council held on the 17th of July is the correct record. Any questions from members of the council on the minute of the last meeting? No. Any business required by statute to be done?
No.
And members' allowances we need to go to from the independent remuneration panel.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I don't intend to go through the report word for word, but I will just present briefly. Members were last presented with a report of the IRP in February last year, where it was agreed that members' basic allowances would be frozen and that the payment of the special responsibility allowances be suspended, with a review to take place for the 24 elections. This review is now taking place. The independent remuneration panel have considered various information that's been set out, including allowances paid at other authorities, to compare, and members directed to section 10 of the report, where the recommendations are made and members' views are sought.
Councillor Harrison.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to put on record our thanks to the Independent Remuneration Panel for the report, but would like to move that we reject the recommendations and continue as we are. And it would be really interesting to know if any of the people sat opposite have any views on that. Thank you.
No views? No seconder?
Second.
Have you got a view? Okay.
This is probably political suicide, what I'm going to say now. I've been chair of adults and I've been chair of neighbourhoods. And when you do these, you have to go to extra bodies out of town. For instance, the chair of neighbourhoods, you have to go to Stockton once a month. You Teesside Airport once a month. Sometimes twice if you're under the spirit of common as well. Newcastle, all these cost money. So basically, what I think we're saying to the general public is you have to be well off to be a councillor to go to all those places. And or if you put an allowance claim for petrol, etc., or parking, things like that, or it costs you a fortune to park at. But I personally think that saying to residents that you have to be well off to be a councillor, you don't. But these allowances do help to go to outside body meetings, like to Newcastle, Stockton, and Teesside Airport. Also Derren, I went to Derren once, but that was only once, and Manchester and New London. But I just wanted to say that.
Thank you, sir. Do we have a second part? Do you want to respond right now?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Just to clarify, if you go to Teesside Airport for a meeting, you don't actually pay.
I didn't want to respond.
Well, that was, I think, probably a mistake. So you don't pay. And also, we're still getting the basic allowance, which, in my mind, covers stuff like that. Thank you.
Seconded, Matthew, yes.
Second, yes.
Can we go to a vote on this and we'll take a record of names, please, David?
Yep.
Councillor Allen.
Sorry, can you just remind me the question? Which way
Oh,
around I
sorry.
say it?
So the recommendation is as per the leader of the councillors has recommended that it stays as it is. So it's for or against, for to stay as it is, against.
For.
Councillor Allen.
For.
Councillor Body.
Can I vote twice as well?
Is that for? Sorry, I didn't. Councillor Cook. Oh, she's not. Councillor. Councillor Creevy. For. Councillor Darby.
Abstain.
Councillor Dodds.
For.
Councillor Doyle.
For.
Councillor Dunbar.
For.
Councillor Hall.
For.
Councillor Hargreaves.
For.
Councillor Harrison.
For.
Councillor Holbrook.
For.
Councillor Lindridge. Councillor Little. Councillor Little. Councillor Morley. For. Councillor Napper. For. Councillor Nelson.
For.
Councillor Oliver. For. Councillor Reid. Here. Councillor Riddle. Councillor Scarborough.
For.
Councillor Thompson. For. Councillor Wallace.
For.
Councillor Young.
For.
That motion's carried.
Thank you. Any announcements from the head service? Don't think we have.
Yes, sir. Madam
Number
Chair.
seven.
Number 7. I do. Yeah.
I think Haley will leave us this one, or if we need any legal advice, name is in.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I mean, members have had the report in front of them for over a week now, so I didn't intend to go through it with any detail. The report makes recommendations in respect of the senior leadership structure of the council, set out the context of which local authorities work, and section 4 sets out the proposal for reconfiguring the senior leadership team and goes into further detail and there are a number of appendices. There are staffing and financial implications and proposed changes to that are set out in section 5, and I'm happy to go to the recommendations, but also before that answer any questions if there are any.
Councillor Little.
I appreciate what's here in front of us. Over the last about 18 months, we've lost a number of officers, not just senior executive officers, we've also lost managers as well that have gone to other local authorities because of their a lot better than what we do in Hartlepool. I also appreciate that this is going to save us an awful lot of money. But it's to be at the top of your job, you have to be very good at the top of your job. And I don't want to disrespect any officer or any officer from the Queen's all the way up to the top, because everybody's job is so important in this local authority. I think we should be paid, I'm sorry Tony, but I think we should be paid a hell of a lot more money than what we are. For the responsibilities that they carry on their shoulders. I don't want to any more senior officers or heads of food site. But therefore, I just think that our officers do deserve a lot more than what we're getting. I only got my papers yesterday, but you know, I'm doing the course. So I've only really read these in the last 24 hours. But I just want to put on record that I do think that our officers at HBC might be cleaner to use me. We're not paying the right amount, and I don't want to lose any more officers, our good officers to other local authorities.
Thank you, Councillor Little. I appreciate you having that time to read the full report in detail, but in 3.4, I do actually make a point that actually we need to do everything we can to retain and make our people attractive compared to other local authorities, and therefore we will need to review our current pay model to ensure we're competitive going forward. What this does is to try and stop any more leakage of the senior leadership team, which is something you're recognising is an issue. And whilst there are savings during this year, there are also costs going forward. So hopefully that just to clarify the position.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I suppose it's really just to put on record, well, two things actually. I would like to clarify that I am not, in fact, on £175,000 a year as a councillor. It has been said many times on Facebook groups and pages, and I just wanted to clarify that for the press. Definitely not £175,000 a year. And then the second thing really was just, you know, I'm kind of mindful that there are members of the public in the gallery and that this might get picked up, that we are undertaking a sort of senior management restructure, and that obviously Councillor Little has outlined that there have been some senior officers that have moved and other members of the other employees of the council. And I just wanted to say it's not unusual for big organisations like this to periodically have a situation where a lot of senior people change. It is something that happens across a lot of certainly private sector organisations, but in lots of local authorities. And actually, it is an opportunity for us to look at where we've got talent within the organisation and help develop them and promote them at all levels. And it is an opportunity for us to test the market and see who's out there. You know, we're a small local authority. I think we provide excellent services. I think we punch way above our weight. I say it all the time. I think we've got some really, really exciting projects in this town that are happening and have been for the last few years, and we're seeing those come to fruition. There's a massive amount of investment coming in from the government, and I just think, you know, we are a town that is definitely on the up, and we are going places, and I think that should be an opportunity for a lot of people to come and work here. And you know, we might not get the people who've been doing this job for 20, 25 years, but we might get the people who want to step up and have been doing something for 2 or 3 years. And this is about growing our town and growing our council and being the organisation that is as fit for purpose as we possibly can be. So far from it being a negative thing, I think it's a positive thing, and we have to grasp that and support any new people that are coming in, and certainly the ones that remain, and make sure we steady the ship and go for growth. And I just wanted to put that on record, so it's just not seen as a negative.
Councillor Harrison.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. And just on the back of what Pam said, we wouldn't go for a cheaper option in order to pull things down. I think it's been proved already, and Pam's just very articulately expressed this, that we have an extremely high calibre of officer and members of staff here that work really well and that do a very good job. And that is not going to change, I can assure you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Related to the point that Councillor Little made and Pam eloquently replied, we all know that we're getting a Director of Social Services who's coming from the Scottish Government to work for Hartlepool, who has an outstanding track record and is quite a force of nature. And I think Councillor was on the interview panel, and very rarely am I so impressed. So we do attract people of the highest calibre, and they do want to come and work in Hartlepool. And I think we will continue to attract that calibre of candidate because we are an excellent local authority. We can always get better, we will get better, but we start at a very, very high level. So I don't have a problem with confidence or being proud of being from Hartlepool. I do have a problem with people sniping at us, especially when the sniping's internal, because that gets, I won't use Karen's phrase because they'll probably chuck me out, but you can probably guess what the phrase is. My point, before I mentioned all that, was I thought we were thinking of a review period of about 5 months to see where we were. And unfortunately, I can't see it in the report because we will be informed by the officers coming into position. Hopefully some of them will be internal candidates that will shine, I have no doubt they will, and possibly there'll be external candidates that will prosper and give us vigour and vim, which is always good for an organisation. But we need to review that, because it's no good saying, oh yes, that's a very good idea, and doing absolutely squiggly dot about it. So I would hope we can build a review period of 5 months into the recommendation, so we know we're coming back, and we know that we've got an opportunity to measure and improve on what we've found. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
So, Councillor Boddy, you're absolutely right. We did talk about a review period, and that is covered in relation to housing in 4.5. It's just been missed off a recommendation, so that is the recommendation to make sure that decision is clear so everyone's got that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we've probably had enough on this one, so I think we'll move on from that one. Do we need to vote on this? Brent? Show of hands. So all in favour of accepting the report, please show of hands. Unanimous. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
So moving on, we have no more business remaining in this meeting. So now we're going to go on to consider council committee reports on Constitution Committee and Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The report sets out 2 recommendations from Constitution Committee which met on the 29th of July. The first relates to the referral from Council from the 28th of November, which was in respect of a request to consider a change to the planning delegation scheme, asking that it be amended to include that applications for doors and windows in conservation areas be automatically referred to planning committee. The committee considered this, and their recommendation is that this change be implemented, and referred it to full council for final approval, with the condition that it be reviewed in 6 months' time once the advisory panels for conservation areas are fully operational. The second recommendation relates to a request to increase the membership of the local Joint Consultative Committee. Members considered this request and felt that 4 seats per representative body was sufficient, and recommended that the committee stay with the 4. Members' views are sought on the proposed recommendations, and if approved, members are asked to delegate authority to me to make the necessary changes to the Constitution.
Any questions, any comments? So we know this report then. Approved, yeah. And move on. Questions from policy committees, councils, and approved budget and policy framework. No? I think we're on that one. Okay, so we'll move straight into the motions then. So first motion is tackling the listed sorry, beg your pardon. Our first motion is to, for councillors, tackling illicit tobacco and strengthening closure powers. And I'll ask Councillor Oliver to pick this one.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I won't read this out verbatim. We've all had a look at it, I'm sure. Maybe you haven't caught up Sue on it, but anyway, yeah, so the council notes the increased prevalence of illegal tobacco, illicit tobacco and vapes, and I know that our staff have worked tirelessly to tackle this issue, and it's a bit like treading water, I think, at the minute. So in terms of taking action, I think it's something that requires a change in legislation and law to be able to allow us to do that. So we believe that the powers that currently stand aren't robust enough to, or modern enough to tackle this issue. And we would like, therefore, to resolve and write to, and I'm sorry there's a mistake error here because it's my fault, Secretary of State for Level and Enhancements, a bit old hat, to Communities, Housing and Local Government. To point out 5 key areas as outlined here, and the 5 key areas are there for start. And in addition, write to the Local Government Association to request support and lobbying government for strong closure and enforcement powers to tackle the sale of illegal tobacco and vapes and to share that best practice. I do know that this is a national issue, and so we are no exception to this. But I don't want us as a town to lose out on this one. And yes, certainly it has great effects in terms of public health as well, and undermining legal sales and legal businesses. Thank you. So, put that motion forward. Thank you. Councillor Harrison.
Thanks, Madam Chair. As Chair of the Health and Wellbeing Board, I really am really happy to second this motion. We're trying to do everything we can as a council to improve the health outcomes of the people in Hartlepool, and this particular motion goes well towards doing that. Thank you.
And we'll go to a recorded vote on this one. It's been seconded.
You can debate it. You can debate.
Do we need to debate it?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say how fantastic our licensing team is in protecting our residents by closing these shops down. As you know, I'm a smoker, and I rely on those customers, those shops to sell me legal cigarettes. And same goes for vapes. People don't know what they're putting in if they're not getting them from a correct place. And I just like to growing up, like our team's doing a fantastic job, doing such a small team, and I just want to say thank you to them for keeping our streets safe.
Thank you.
Short hand, we're doing
Thank you. All in favour of?
unanimous, Chair.
Okay, so the next motion is regarding Tees Valley Energy Recovery Facility.
Thank you, Chair. As a newcomer to procedure, please know that I view the democratic process of this council with the full perspective it deserves of all of you. I apologise if I put forward any discrepancies. I would like to say on record that I have brought this motion with the hope of reaching across the floor to all members in a completely open-handed, non-partisan approach. To allow further examination of the Tees Valley Energy Recovery Facility referred to as TVER. I am aware that there are partner authorities from within the 7 involved that have found on further inspection of this project and its further and future development that there are relevant problems. Some questions need to be addressed before we proceed any further, or if indeed, if we should proceed at all. The tea bed is planned to be situated on the site of the old Reading Steelworks, and on the face of it would provide the 7 partner authorities with a waste bed incinerator that would provide waste sanitation and reduce the volume of water landfill. It's also considered cost effective and means long-term stability for regional local waste management. The extra transport costs of waste around our region will have a negative effect that are more difficult to measure with the current issues on the A19, the A66 and the A1. The Tiber is not geographically positioned centrally to the authority groups, which means Newcastle's waste, for example, will run our roads for over an hour, and that's a big deal. Another concern is that the people living in the Grangetown area already have a proven reduced life expectancy of around 10 years less than any of the surrounding areas, according to a BBC report from 2004. The Health Risk Research provided by TVET's FAQs no less all look at data based on fetuses and newborn babies. Health risks on workers or adults living in the vicinity yet to be considered. The plan is for a 4-year growth time followed by a 25-year production span with the option for a further 11-year extension if I am correct. This project is given the immediate go-ahead, then this would potentially tie into a contract to use this incinerator facility until 2065. Moving on to the financial concerns, 7 authorities created a non-profit limited company in front of Denise McCucken which gives their delegated powers to act on our and then our. The COVID virus understandably created a hiatus on these plans which should be up and running by this year and are not currently underway, not operational until 2028, with some reports in the end of 2029. Different central government stated that this project in 2018 was going to be a net zero policy and it didn't mean what it means now. Policies like extended producer responsibility are great because businesses will bear the cost of making poor actual choices. They then reserve the right to increase their prices which impacts consumers, and that's going to be especially effective in the sharp end as we did in Article. And is a likely consequence. Recyclability assessment methodology, round for short, means that waste is graded red, amber, green based on how easy to recycle it is. The tonnage and then colour grade will be reported to government twice a year and the waste management fee will be charged with effect from 2026. Then we have the deposit return scheme, which aims to reduce the single-use drinks content from going to waste by financially incentivising people to recycle in October 27. Food recycling is coming into effect as of the end of this year too. As such, our waste tonnage is expected to be reduced by around half. Therefore, what will happen when we can't provide the tonnage of waste that we agreed to provide contractually to TVET? What are the contractual liabilities that HBC finances in that scenario over the duration of such a long contract? By 2028, there is the emissions trading scheme which will include energy from waste incinerators. This will allow companies to buy carbon allowances from other carbon neutral companies to create fossil carbon emissions. This again adds to the cost of waste management and potentially could increase the local authority bills. Another large concern is that TVET, as of February this year, has failed to secure government funding for carbon capture, and therefore its status as a facility would be a carbon capture ready future. If that status should change once funding is granted, the facility would then be in a position to treat carbon as a waste product, or to sell it on as a cash crop to third-party interests. Would treating carbon as a waste put fiscal responsibility under the EPR on the local authority since the incinerator has produced the carbon? Or would the initial producer receive a rebate when it becomes a cash crop? So, for example, if the carbon was sold at profit to manufacture lucrative fullerene production. Sorry? 15 seconds. Okay. Please vote in favour of this motion so that the financial ramifications of this possible 40-year contract can be reviewed and understood better.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Need a seconder.
Rob? Moss?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to move an amendment. It was interesting, Mr. Council Member, because the amendment might well involve her, because I'm going to suggest, given the importance of this matter, that we have a members' seminar where all the issues can be discussed all the questions can be asked and we can have independent sources. And given the particular view that Councillor Knapp has expressed, she may well be a contributor to the seminar, Madam Mayor, because she seems to have given a wholly one-sided view. I recall, some people won't, but I do, that CETA started the incinerator at North, commissioned by the then Cleveland County Council. And there was much disquiet at the time and much consternation. And over the years, not only did CETA prove that those concerns were incorrect, but they went on to add 2 more supply lines. And consistently, the output from the CETA plant was less toxic, less health challenging, and less onerous than all the other industries around it. All of the other industries. And as you probably know, that includes chemicals, oil, di-da. So we really have to have a balanced view on this incinerator, and my understanding is that it will be a state-of-the-art one. Now, in 1994-5, as it then was, that CETA could do that, I'm sure the current and future incinerator on the old works site in Redcar, Cleveland, will be even more efficient, even less toxic, even less challenging. So we need a balanced view, we need balanced information, and therefore I move, rather than have a report that's rather one-dimensional, as we've just heard, that we have a balanced seminar where people can explore all of the issues. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Ross. Councillor Hart, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, that sounds like an eminently sensible suggestion, so I think we should second and support Councillor Boddy's amendment, and I would hope that that is something that that is agreeable to the members' officers, so we can have a full and frank conversation. Partly, I suppose, because there seems to be a lot of to and fro on a lot of the issue. I mean, I have been following this, obviously, I'm sure lots of members have quite closely and quite intently. Our colleagues up the road in Durham, our Reform colleagues, seem to have supported it, and then not supported it, and then supported it, and then when they found out that they would lose 20 million if they pulled out, seemed to want to get the rest of us to pull out so they wouldn't have to lose as much money, and then now seems to be apparently maybe back in favour of it. So I think the opportunity to set out the actual facts and all of the information, as Councillor Boddy suggests, seems like a sensible thing for us all to do and have a full and frank discussion as grown-ups. The only thing that I would, I suppose, want us all to be mindful of is that we are all representatives of Hartlepool. We're elected by the people of Hartlepool, and actually, this is a damn good contract for the people of Hartlepool. You know, without putting it in brass tack terms, to have our rubbish dealt with on somebody else's doorstep and somebody else's shores, rather than in our area, where our residents have 10 years of their life expectancy reduced, seems to me to be a really smart thing to do and to opt for. And I would urge all of us, whatever side of the political debate we are on, to get behind something that actually provides us with a cost-effective way to get rid of our rubbish and does not endanger any of our residents, but provides Tees Valley employment. So I think the opportunity to properly discuss it all is a great idea, and I will second that, Chair, and hope that we can have a unanimous decision on that, like we seem to have had all night, which is excellent governance.
Councillor Harris.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Yes, just to clarify, there is no thinking around the fact that it's going to be detrimental to anybody's health within the Tees Valley because of the state of the art it is, and I think you'll find this when we have the members' seminar. But just also, I am a little confused because I know that a seminar was offered before, and I've had a conversation through an email with yourself and with Councillor Young, urging you and encouraging you to take up the the members' seminar. So I'm glad that it's come to the point now where you're going to take it.
Well, unfortunately, I think you're all sort of under the impression that I'm actually against incinerators. I'm just pointing out the fact that because of the unregular nature of the amount of or consistency of the waste that goes through incineration projects, it's actually going to be impossible to quantify the toxins that are actually coming out each day because it's the nature of the business. That being said, my major issue as well is the ongoing financial responsibility of an incinerator that's already been proved to be twice what we need as a provision.
Might I suggest, Councillor Napa, those are the kind of issues we bring to the members' seminar, so I think it would be better if we brought them there where we would have the evidence available to inform us of the actual situation. So, Councillor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think just to answer Councillor Harrison's point, I think we just wanted to make sure that the public were aware that we were debating the issue, and that was the only reason that we felt it should come before Council. We wanted to make sure that, because obviously a decision when I was in the leading administration, so it's important that if we have some doubts, we need to bring them forward and accept fault if we've had any. Thank you.
Could I just offer a point of retraction, I suppose? I wouldn't want anyone to be left with the impression that I am interested in reducing the life expectancy of anybody anywhere. And I stand corrected from Councillor Harrison. I was just reiterating the point that was made by my colleague officer. So I withdraw my comments about life expectancy for anyone. Long may we all live long lives.
Excuse me.
Sorry, Chair.
I'm just considering what we're discussing here, and I'd just like to say I'm surprised Councillor Little hasn't despair and tips. Okay, let's move.
We vote on the amended motion first, then by show of hands, I think. If everyone's in favour of the members' seminar. Unanimous again, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so that's that one. So the next one was a motion regarding council tax, which I will pass over to.
Is that in relation to the
Yes, is that then, Pam? Which one? Is this the council tax?
Oh yes, sorry, I may be premature, Madam Chair, but I wanted to move an amendment, so if I could...
Just because the person who put forward the council tax motion isn't here, this item cannot be discussed and therefore be deferred to the next meeting. And will be considered along with all the other motions as we do, because if we have over three, it goes now. Yeah. Raffle tickets, very complicated.
Technical. Okay.
My amendment's words while you're
Okay, Mansion Director's report, any sort of resolutions deemed necessary, nothing. Any questions we have no questions on notice. Any questions from members of the council or in relation to matters which notice been given? No. Chair, no questions? No. Any comments on police and crime panel or fire authority? No. I would say that's it then. Date next week, Thursday, the 2nd of October, 6:30 in this chamber. Thank you.
Please stand.